Welcome to the Double Chins Wagon podcast, where Ray and Lindsay discuss the absurdities of being millennial moms in rural America and the challenges of living authentically. Please leave a review, subscribe, and interact with us by visiting doublechinswagon.com. Now we hope you enjoy the show. I did, but now we're doing it again.
But now I'm doing it again.
I didn't do echo cancellation on your track, so I had to stop to do that.
Shouldn't it auto, though, if I have my headphones on?
I don't know.
Weird. Whatever, man. I'm glad that you fixed it. I'm sure it will improve the quality.
Mabes.
I did get up and make another cup of tea.
Good.
And went to pee and thought about changing shirts, but then I got distracted talking about making tea.
Talking about it?
Yeah. Well, so in my other group chat, we were in a different group chat. We were talking about non-gendered ways to address a group because somebody in the group sent a TikTok that was like, how do I address a group in a non-gendered way? And then a stitch comes up and says, I just say, hey, y'all fuckers. Or hey, you fuckers. And so then I replied, I tend to call people friends or dudes or buddies. So I also use morning glory. And so then we get on this tangent about the different things that we say to people. And one of the people in the group was like, we can't be using y'all. Let the South just have it. We take so many other things from them, mostly fried foods. Just let them have y'all. And so then that got me talking about how I find it fascinating that in the South, as a girl from the South, family in the South, I know their traditions, okay? How when you go to a restaurant, if you want tea that doesn't have a pound of sugar in it, then you need to ask for unsweetened tea, which is fucking absurd because it was unsweetened to begin with. It wasn't sweet. And then you made it sweet. So this is not unsweetened tea. This is just tea. It's just iced tea, and you made it sweet. So really it should be, would you like tea or sweetened tea? Not sweet or unsweetened, because you're not unsweet. Struggle of my life. I've probably been thinking about this scenario for 20 years, this situation, for a good portion of my life, maybe even longer than that. And it's a thing that still annoys me. It will never not bother me, I don't think. And so then we were talking about, I was standing in the kitchen, I made hot tea, which is a chai, which is quite delicious, nice and cinnamony, spicy-y. Yeah. But I also made iced tea that does have sugar in it. I do like sweet tea. And so we're having this whole conversation like while I'm making this tea, which is why I got distracted and didn't change shirts.
It's okay. I didn't change shirts either. I put my face on and took my hair down, and it didn't look completely ridiculous. So here we are. I won't actually show it because I don't have a bra on, but I have my That Woman from Michigan shirt on today.
Okay, I pulled that shirt out of my drawer this morning and then opted for a long sleeve shirt because it's chilly.
Yeah.
But I almost wore that same shirt today. How funny would it be if we both
That would be
the same shirt? Yeah, that would be super funny. I would laugh. So after our call this, right? Big ol' Gretch. I made a short list for myself after we got off our call this morning of things unrelated to GDP that I needed to work on. That like I need to accomplish today.
Yeah.
Because they have timelines. I got one of those things done.
Good job.
It wasn't enough.
Well,
and it was the second most important thing. So the first most important thing I did not do, but I did do the second most important thing. So there's that. I did something. I mostly was just moving pictures around. That's mostly what I was doing.
Real exciting, and I'm happy you're doing that.
Yeah. And I talked to Sharon. I talked to Sharon. I also did that.
That threw me off. I'm like, who's that?
Everybody needs to have at least like 3 names in my life. And so there's Sharon. I mean, and Share Bear is cute, but it's just not my jam. It's just not me. Other people say cute things like Share Bear.
It aligns well with being married to a brony
That's true. Well,
in a
she's not
way.
married to a brony. I
Not, I
am.
know, but like, I feel like for some reason, Care Bears, My Little Pony, like all of that stuff
Yeah.
somehow falls into a category of like happy, fun
Yes. Like
things,
wholesome. Yeah.
colorful. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you don't like vibe with it a little bit more just because of that.
I don't know if it's just like a because there's like different cutesy things that I do. Just that's just not one of them. That's just not. Um, but yeah, so Sharon. Sometimes just to be an asshole, I call her Shannon. She loves that.
I
She
just
does
call
not.
her Bible.
Sometimes I do call her Bible. Usually like in like unsportsy context when you because you know like sports people are always like blah 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 last name person.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
they never call each other by their first names, which is weird, but whatever. It's a thing that people do. And so whenever I have an opportunity to like in a very unsportsy thing, be like, all right, Bible. And they've only worked it in a couple of times. So but it is in my brain. Like it does live in there as a go-to. We just don't talk about that many sports things because that's just not our lives.
No?
No,
So
unless it's Tennessee football or right now Lion.
I was gonna
We have
say,
been more Lionsy these last few seasons. But generally speaking, we are not sportsy people.
do you know how the last game went?
I heard that it was rough, that the Lions were on the struggle bus the whole game,
Mm-hmm.
and that they really Lions did up.
Well, it ended on a slightly positive note with they made up some points in the end, but I was still
Did they?
lost.
Yeah, I was about to be like, did they pull out the W? Because
We
that's
broke,
not the impression I
yeah,
got.
we broke our winning streak, which was sad. But I was just checking in on how sportsy, how lionsy you actually have been. Just
So
checking.
will go ahead and take some blame for that because I think that's the first game that I actually didn't like watch or even
No,
pay attention to this season. What the fuck was I even doing on it was Clype's birthday.
kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it was Sis's birthday. We had 8 million people here. My ma was here. And then I had book club. And then we always watch Mad Men on Sunday nights, but that was after football.
Hmm.
No, during the football things, Sis's birthday party and book club.
That's a lot in one
Which,
day.
girl, Sunday was my easiest day this week.
What the hell? How do you manage? I can't even handle
Drugs? I
having to
don't
go
know.
outside once and you have multiple social engagements in one day.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks have just been really busy, partly because it's holiday season. There's that. And that definitely starts to stack up between having a retail business and throwing a holiday party, having a kid whose birthday is in December. There's just a lot that goes on this month. And then my kid whose birthday is in December decided that that was not enough of an inconvenience for us in December. So she also got, a respectable role in the play that
Mm-hmm.
runs the same week as her birthday. And she decided this season that she also wants to do competitive cheer. And so they're only 2.5 weeks out from their first competition. So there's practice for that all the time. Yeah. So that's
That
fun.
much. Yeah.
My mom came up, my mom and my dad came up for Sis's play, which was really cute because she dedicated the play to them
Aw.
because she knew it was a big deal that they came because they were just here at Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
and they were only here for 40
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They came up very specifically for the play, which was a really cool thing for them to do. They didn't have to do that. I know it's a pain in the ass, and it was really nice of them. So she dedicated the play to them, which made my mom cry naturally.
That's amazing.
It was really cute because they do a little bio thing that they put on the wall, and you get to put your dedication on there. So yeah, I think that our theater program is just trying to depress everyone this year with their stage selections.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just did Radium Girls, which is sad. It is a quite moving story in general, and these kids did an amazing job with it. They did so good. The stage was great. The set that students built was excellent, and then all of the performances were very heartfelt. You can tell that they clearly like worked really hard on it. And the musical that they'll do in the spring is The Sound of Music. So many Nazis. It's great. I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I am actually looking forward to it. I think that it will be a lovely production. Sis is not auditioned yet, but auditions are right around the corner. So
I mean, aside from that very disturbing underlying part of the story, it tends to be one of those warm and fuzzy.
and it is.
Yeah, a lot of people like The Sound of Music.
Yeah, I think right now I just approach everything with a
I know.
very cynical lens.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
as I feel like probably more people should be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, NBD, you guys do
Mm-hmm.
you. I am looking forward to it though. I'm looking forward to seeing Sis in a musical role. Both my kids are in choir. They have their winter concert this week. You have one today, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And my kids, theirs is tomorrow, which I am excited. I like that both of them do choir. I think it's kind of fun. I want them to
I
grow up and be a famous musical duo. And that
That would
way
be
I can
great.
retire and can just dick off, you know.
I wish I could say I was looking forward to tonight's shindig, but if it
It's a
was just
much
my
different, you have a
kid,
different crowd though.
we
Isn't it
do.
mostly younger kids?
I think because we have to go to the high school and it's in the
Mm.
auditorium. So it's going to be, I think, all the grades, but they break them up into different sections for the different songs. So yeah, but the problem is interacting with the crowd. I don't. That's the part that I'm not excited about for sure. Seeing other people's parents and knowing that that's who's shaping the people that my kid hangs out with is the problem.
Sometimes stressful. Yeah.
Yeah. My gosh, the other day, this makes me think of something. So far, my kid has been pretty good with dealing with people that maybe he doesn't necessarily love or like. There is a kind of a bully kid, I think in their grade that on the playground tends to be a dick and has caused some problems, but he happens to be the kid of one of the teachers at the school. So it's like, okay, it'd be cool if she could get that under wraps, but we'll see what happens. Aside from that, I haven't really heard him talk negatively about other kids yet. And even when he's talking about the bully, he's like, this kid did a mean thing. He's not like saying bad things about him kind of thing. But
Right.
the other day he was talking about some girl. I don't know who. Don't remember her name. He said she's a little odd, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? And he's like, I don't know. Just when I look at her, I just kind of feel weird. She always kind of looks yellow. And I'm like, what?
Hmm. Interesting. Do we need a medical intervention here?
Yeah, there might be something wrong with her. And I think he said something like she moves around a lot and she like one day she got out of the classroom and was just wandering around in the hallway and I'm like, okay, so maybe and she has anxiety. That's what it was. Because he was asking me what anxiety is.
What? Isn't
And
it
I
only
was
in
like, well,
fucking first grade?
right? So I had to explain to him. I'm like, well, I'm sorry that she makes you feel uncomfortable, but try to understand that she probably has a hard time at home. And maybe her parents don't have a lot of money or something. We don't know what her situation is, but if she has anxiety and, she's scared of stuff, then we should try to be nice. And oh my God. But to hear a little kid try to describe someone that gives them the ick or whatever, it was just really. It was really interesting.
And that is yeah. No, I genuinely don't remember my kids.
Mhm.
I'm very clear that we probably had similar conversations, but now my kids are just like, "Oh my god, this bitch." I did find myself recently, I was taking sis and some friends to rehearsal, like we were in the car and driving out to rehearsal, and they were talking a little bit of smack about a classmate who I happen to have some insider information on. I know what's going on in this kid's life, and it is a challenge.
Mm,
They are in a very unstable place right now, which is super unfortunate. There's people trying to help, trying to mitigate the situation.
mhm.
So this kid is getting what they need. Okay. But sis and her friends are talking about him. And I'm like, hey guys, maybe let's dial it back on this one.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, blah, 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 slut. And I was like,
God.
okay, friends. Again, you don't know what's going on. It's not my place to tell you guys about the details of their situation,
Yeah, yeah.
but just know that adults have intervened at this point and we're trying to get this kid help. So
Mhm.
maybe just lay off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm now thinking about how my kids interact with other students and if they ever really stop to take that into consideration. Because I feel like a lot of the times when they're telling me about difficulties with somebody, I try to make light of it and just be like, you're going to run into shitty people. Sorry,
Mhm.
bro.
Mhm.
Welcome to life.
Mhm.
You can't just think that everything's always going to go your way. But it made me think about I should maybe be a little more proactive in encouraging them to be a little more sympathetic and think about the alternatives, things that might be going on in their lives that aren't as evident.
Yeah.
But then I also know how my kids behave at school versus how they interact with me and Liam at home.
Mhm.
They're much more open, they're much more relaxed when they're here. They know what our boundaries are
Mhm.
and they know at school it's different. And so I hope I'm gonna have to ask them now. I hope that they're better behaved at school. Uh, casual conversations we're having at home. Like I hope that they understand
Yeah.
how the relationship dynamics work differently in different places. No, I'm worried. I don't like that.
Yeah, who knows? Well, that was the weird thing that, when I found out that my kid was stealing meat sticks from another kid, and a kid that I know really well, and his mom is a friend of mine, and she had to be like, "Yo, your kid keeps stealing my kid's snacks, and he has anxiety about it because he doesn't want to be mean to your kid and tell him no." And I'm like, "Oh my god, who is this child?" I don't understand that. Yeah, you never know what the fuck
Yeah.
who they are when they leave the house.
Speaking of meat sticks, this reminds me of a dumb thing that happened this weekend. And it's about my kid because she's so fucking funny. Sis really is like, she's a hoot. My dad and I are here chilling at the house on Saturday morning, and my mom and sis went to the grocery store. And I texted them while they were gone a couple of things that I needed. And I felt like I was clear in what I asked for, which was very simple. I text Calliope. I said, I need you to grab some candy for the Christmas balls. I'm going to work on wrapping them today. She knows what these are. She knows what I put in them. This was not an abnormal ask. Okay.
Mhm.
And so my mom calls and she's like, I'm going to need a little more information. I was like, I asked for candy. I'm gonna wrap in saran wrap. Like, what more information do you want, Ma? I don't. And so we're having this chat, and I was like, Calliope knows exactly what I'm looking for. If she's playing dumb with you right now, shake your finger at her and don't buy her coffee because I know that's why you're there. And sure enough, they came home with Starbucks. And so I'm on the phone and I was like, yeah, can you also get little Slim Jims or like this short snack size meat sticks? Because I'll put some of those in there too. And she's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And so they get home a little while later. And Calliope walks in and she hands me the bags of candy, which she got me exactly what I needed. My dad and I are sitting back here and she's like, yeah, I got your candy. So they couldn't find any of the little meat sticks. And I was like, okay, not a big deal. She's like, but I also haven't looked in my pants yet. And I was like, Calliope.
Dude, oh my God.
She's, she's so dumb. I cried laughing. My dad cried laughing. It was so stupid, but it was so funny.
You needed her on your trip when you were making your Menards jokes. She would have appreciated that.
She actually does. She also has tired of them. Because there's a Menards in Gaylord. And so whenever we go, and it's right by the Meijer, right across from TJ Maxx, right by Kohl's. So it's like at a place where we go to almost every time we go to Gaylord. And I make the joke every time. And the first time she usually laughs. And then after that, she stops. She's like,
Well,
stop. I need you to stop.
at least she laughs once because I don't
She
think
does.
Atticus gives you that much.
Mm-mm. He does not anymore, at least. Early on, he did. The first 25 times I made the joke, he thought it was funny. He's super over it now. And yeah, he does not. He doesn't love it.
Have you ever considered or actually gone to New York for New Year's Eve?
So I've not gone. I have considered it. I've got a cousin who lives in New York. Well, now I think she lives on Long Island. She lived in the city she went to school there. She had a $1 billion apartment that was a toilet in the same room as her bed.
Wow, yeah.
It was, yeah,
The full experience.
yes. And it was 6 roommates. Those are all exaggerations, just for the record.
Yeah, yeah.
But we chatted about this at one point, and I was like, that would be so fun. It'll be so cool. And she's like, nah, once you get in there, you can't leave. It's so crowded. If you like the place where you're at, it's really difficult. She's like, it gets super smelly. Sometimes it's
Ew.
really cold.
Right.
And it just is surprisingly difficult to have a good time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is bummy because I always thought that it looked super fun. But she's not wrong. Thinking about logistically, I've lost my husband at concerts in small venues. Can't
Mhm.
imagine what would happen if we were on the street and one of us was like, I have to pee. And then it's 3 days till we find each other again.
Yeah. I've never really had the desire, I don't think, to really because yeah, it
I can't see
seems
you wanting to
no,
do
it
that.
seems very I don't know. There's too many people. And
Which has me curious about why you want to do Electric Forest.
because Tiesto's going to be there. And I
Mm,
feel like I don't know. That's just I know there's a lot of people there too, but that's an experience. It's just one
it
of those
is.
things. And I'm trying to push my boundaries as far as my comfort levels are concerned because that's when good things happen in life, right? For the most
Yeah, they
part.
can for sure. I mean, sometimes you die, but
Sometimes.
usually it's fine.
Yeah. Which is also
Usually you go home with a
right.
positive experience to laugh about later.
Right. Which is why I'm asking about yeah, New York because
Yeah.
I I'm doing research right now on it because we have a child-free New Year's. Calvin's going to go to Chicago with grandma and grandpa
Nice.
and we don't have plans. So, yeah, I'm sure Trevor is going to be like, "Hell no. I don't want to do that. That sounds awful." He hates crowds
Yeah.
actually.
That does not sound like a Trevor thing.
No, but I want to go.
We're going to do a canoe drop here in Grayling.
Are you serious? Do you have a crane that's going to do it?
I have no fucking clue. I don't know anything about this except I've seen the invites. I'm probably going to end up going
Yeah.
because one of my friends is on the DDA board and it's kind of her event, not her only event,
Mhm.
but it's a DDA event and one of my friends is on the chamber board and they're partnering. And so I'll probably end up going because I like my friends and I try to do things that support them. Also think about all of the times that I made them come help me with DDA
Yeah,
things.
yeah. Yeah.
The least I can do is show up and party with you.
Mhm.
You're not asking me to volunteer for anything. You just are asking me to do the fun part. So,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So I'll probably end up there. But yeah, we're just doing it in the street, which means it's also going to be cold.
Mhm.
So we're going to try and have, I mean, if you want to be part of the inaugural Grayling canoe drop, the tiniest, tiny version of New
What?
York's.
I mean, it probably is gonna be better than what we do in Charlevoix because bridge drop.
Don't you guys just put the bridge down, which you could do 20 times a day anyways?
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's usually really windy and cold.
Oh, yeah. We don't usually get the wind is never as bad here as it is for you guys.
Right. And I think
Yeah.
maybe there's fireworks this year. I don't know.
Oh,
That's the cool part. But
we'll definitely do fireworks. We always do fireworks.
yeah.
Even if they don't do fireworks downtown, we'll just walk right back up to my house and set them off in the fucking driveway. My nearly 40 years, I have never missed a 4th of July or New Year's Eve firework extravaganza in my own yard. I've never known one of those holidays without exploding
Hmm.
things in my driveway or my backyard.
I
Because
like
I
how you
haven't always
said
had it.
extravaganza.
Yeah.
There's no other word to
I mean,
use for that.
Glenn and I just get drunk and set off explosives. One time he fell
It,
on the ice.
God.
Fortunately, it was pretty snowy and icy, and he had his Carhartts on, so he was fine. He lit it and then was trying to walk away,
Hmm.
and that's when he fell, so he just rolled in the snow.
My God.
It was great. Actually, it was really it was a really good time.
I have a question because as I'm looking into this New Year's Eve situation, there's a headline on Yahoo Entertainment that reads, and this is not going to shock you at all. I'm going to read the whole headline.
Perfect. I hope it's something about Anderson Cooper getting drunk.
No, but I did watch CNN last year because the Joe Bros were on. They were performing on that network. This article was written by Karen Butler for Yahoo Entertainment. So this is an American news source. Sounds like an American writer, Karen Butler. Jonas Brothers booked for Richard Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. Richard Clark? What? When did we start calling him Richard?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Who let this go live?
Nah.
At
Someone is getting
8:22 a.m. Who did this?
someone's someone's getting fired today.
Karen. What the
Whoever hit publish on that is getting fucking fired. That person's out. I wonder if she like did it to be funny because you know how like I do that when I send copy over to get edited. Like I'll intentionally put something that absolutely needs to come out. Not always, but depending on who you're sending it to, right?
f-
So I gotta wonder like if she sent it over to the editor being like derp derps, and the editor's like, "Fuck you, you're done now, bitch."
Karen, you're out. Your day has
Tired of your
come.
antics.
Oh my
This is
God.
the last straw.
So now I'm going to call it Richard Clark from now on because that's just, I like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did establish earlier in the day today.
Yeah.
Guys, oh, by the way, guys, we do professional things sometimes. Grown adults. Yeah, we did establish earlier in the day that we call everybody by their full name now.
Formal full name, unless their name is Nancy, and then we're just doing Nance, and Barbara is
And
Babs.
it's Babs.
Those are the official business things that we took care of this morning at 8:30.
It was a very productive meeting.
It was. So, and for the record, I what time did I go to bed? I went to bed probably maybe 10 by the time I fell asleep. Woke up at 2 a.m. Went back to bed at like 6:30, and then I woke up at like 8. And so I need some sleep.
I went to bed at like 11, maybe 11:30. That's a normal time for me to go to bed is like between 10:30 and 11:30. And when my alarm went off at 7:45, I was mad.
Yeah.
I was upset.
I didn't
So
have an
yeah.
alarm set. It's a miracle that I woke up when I did, but it was thanks to my dog barking at the garbage truck.
Hello. Thanks, Rico.
Yeah, thanks.
You
Don't
saved
say
us from having to make fun of Lindsay this morning. Rude. How amazing would it have been if Dee and I were on and you weren't?
it would be pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, I'd expect Dee to show up and then
Your
and there's me rolling in at the literal last second.
I will never I have a recording of it. The face, your face when your camera started, pure disgust and anger. You were just like, I'm fucking here, guys.
I mean, that's pretty much how I feel about everything that happens before 9 a.m. That's yeah.
Yeah.
There are
It was
very few
beautiful.
occasions when I'm happy to be awake before 9 a.m. Very few.
I told you I might get a little high before we did this, and I didn't. So this is kind of boring. But I just realized that one way I can make the concert later tonight more fun is by getting high before going.
Do recommend.
Yeah. Do you do
Whenever
that
I have
ever?
to, sometimes. I did go to both play performances sober because I wanted to like
Mhm.
really
Experience
yeah.
the art of it.
Yes. Tomorrow's concert.
Okay.
Football. Every fucking football game I had to go to, 100% got a little high.
On a
Cause
scale of 1 to Towley from South Park.
nah, I reserved Tally for home.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you watch The Connors? Have you
No,
watched The Connors?
no, because I mean, you know how
Roseanne's
they
not on
all,
it anymore. She got cut. That's why it's The Connors now and not Roseanne.
but they're still no, they're
No,
so unpleasant to look at. I don't know.
I mean, okay, that's fair. I think that show is funny. Um, and there's an episode where Dan takes an edible and it doesn't kick in fast enough. So he takes another one.
God, perfect.
And then it kicks in and then he gets hungry. So he eats a third one.
Mm.
And at this point, Jackie comes in, talk to him, and his feet are on the wrong feet. It makes me laugh so hard every time. He's like, no, my feet are on the wrong, I can't walk, my feet are on the wrong feet. And Jackie's like, those aren't your feet? He's like, no, they're my feet. They're just the wrong feet. And she's like, it's okay. Let me fix it for you. And then she walks over, literally just like, waves her arms in front of him and was like, ta-da, they're fixed. And he's like, oh shit, you fixed them. And then starts walking. It's primo. I laugh,
Uh,
cry every time. It's one of my favorite clips.
well, maybe I should reconsider watching it. I feel bad. I just got pissed off at Roseanne because for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. She literally caused Roseanne to like the reboot. She got herself killed on her own show. And so they renamed it The Connors because they already had everyone in these contracts and they all wanted to make the shows.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, you're the problem. Beat it, bitch. They had the original Becky has made an appearance or two.
When I was little, I thought she was really pretty.
Yeah.
She kind of reminds me of Debbie Gibson. They kind of look similar.
Okay.
By the way,
We can see that. Yeah.
Kayla sent us a message saying that there may or may not be a serial killer on the loose in Columbus.
Hold on. Did I miss that?
No, you didn't. Because I just found an article that was published 46 minutes ago that the police are dispelling growing social media speculation that a serial killer is linked to a Central Ohio triple homicide investigation. There were 3 women found with gunshot wounds in a home on Saturday. Posts quickly started circulating on social media that the homicide was connected to others in the city and that a serial killer was on the loose. A spokesperson with Columbus Police said they could not provide an update on the triple homicide as of Tuesday morning, but they did say the division is not investigating any active serial killers in its jurisdiction. So, I guess maybe people are just causing some drama on the internet.
Just running amok.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that is what the internet is for.
Yeah.
It was supposed to help us all have better information,
Yeah.
but mostly it's just ruined the world.
Yeah, it's ruined the world. And here we are putting our brand of garbage out into the world.
Look at
Take
us
that,
go, being
internet.
trendy and shit. We're doing the internet right. That's what that means.
We are we are falling into the narcissist trap of capitalism and all of that fun stuff. We think we're so important. I love it.
Well, I mean, sorry.
Oh, I just remembered I ordered a whole bunch of Bernie Sanders stickers and they have yet to come in the mail. I wonder when they're going to come.
I picked up my phone to look for a specific thing.
Yeah?
Serial killers in Michigan.
Like Richard Clark's New Year's Eve celebration.
Estimated serial killers. 25 to 50 active serial killers any given time.
That's
The US.
general stat. Like at
Yep.
any given time, there's that many people that are randomly killing people.
Yes.
Okay.
Estimated that any given time in the United States, between 25 and 50 serial killers are active.
That's exciting.
I mean, that it's interesting because that's not how many inactive ones are there?
Do you
How many serial killers got tired of it?
I don't think that's a thing.
Incorrect. BTK
Really?
went through a phase.
Who did?
BTK did a long stretch where he was just happy with life, so he wasn't killing anybody.
Hmm.
And then he got bored, which is why he ended up getting caught.
So inactive slash dormant.
Yeah. Reformed.
Right.
Just I don't think there's any reforming a serial killer. That seems
No.
improbable. Because I feel like killing's one of those things you either like it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
a thing that you're just like, yeah. It's not like smoothies where you're like, yeah, smoothie sounds good. You either like, you know what I mean? Because there's some people who are very into smoothies, but generally speaking, smoothies are okay occasionally.
They're
I don't
fine.
I don't think murdering is. Like,
It's an
I just
analogy.
don't think that that's part of like the mental situation that one is in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Real quick on
yeah,
smoothies, have you ever heard of a juice smoothie or a smoothie?
aren't all smoothies just slightly
I
frozen juice with
Yes,
other
I need to
things?
research this to see if it was just for the sake of a joke in a movie or if it's a real thing.
Yeah, that feels weird. Does not compute. I'm trying to like a juvie. No, no. Oh, so I picked up my phone to look about serial killers and then I got distracted because we have this fundraiser tonight, which is one of my favorite events and I love it. It's called Cops versus Kids, which BT Dub's primo name for a fundraiser.
Mm,
It's a basketball game
okay.
where the local policia play against the 8th grade boys basketball team. And so a little backstory on how this got started. Take it to a community near you. We had an officer several years back. This was, I think the first one was in 2018. It's either 18 or 19 is when the first one was, who was injured in the line of duty. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, it was the officer was chasing some hoodlums through a field because they had broken into an abandoned building and they were vandalizing shit. It's not like they just broke in and then they were sitting around being dumb. They were breaking shit.
Yeah.
They're vandalizing things, and so obviously police get called, and so they booked it, and this officer runs after him and ended up with an injury. I don't recall if it was. I think that's the one where he went to tackle one of them and got wonked up. Okay. So he was not on active duty. He couldn't be on the road in a patrol car. So he was doing a lot of desk shit. And it occurred to him we could do this fun fundraiser. We could, do some outreach.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I don't have to fucking chase kids across fields. Build better relationships. Okay. And so we thought it would be super fun to it was early in the basketball season. He came to Jenny and I and was like, help me think of a thing. And so we were like, oh, well, let's play basketball. That'd be super fun. You can be the coach. We'll get other officers to play. It'll be super cool. And he loved it. He did a great job building it out. Jenny and I got to design stuff. We all had a really fun time with it, and it was super fucking funny. Shenanigans, so many shenanigans. This is obviously a joke of a basketball game. We had the Grinch show up, and he would occasionally run out on the court and steal the ball whenever the officers had it, and then give it to one of the eighth graders. Yeah, so just silly stuff like that. So we have that event tonight, and originally it was called Cops versus Kids because C comes before K. And it wasn't until the following year when someone was like, hey, this doesn't sound quite right. Can we maybe talk about rebranding? And we were like, no, like this is amazing. So now we have all kinds of like silly jokes about when we say cops versus kids. It does not mean that the police officers are going to mace the children. But yeah, so we have that tonight. And so when I was I opened my phone to like look about serial killers, and I saw messages from that group about stuff we need to get done today, what time we need to be where, blah, blah, blah. So I got distracted with that.
You just made me think of some of the inappropriate names of things that I've had in life. And for example, like I think I have referred to it recently with my grad school group of friends, but because we referred to ourselves as sex in the historic district instead of sex in the city. So that's SIHD. And for some reason, we would put S at the end. So if you say that out loud, it's just SIDS. So it sounds like sudden infant death syndrome. And we just say SIDS all the time, and we know what it means, and it's no big deal. But then another one that, I mean, and most of the time that's not in a professional setting. So it's also not too terrible. But at my most recent job before now, we had a monthly meeting that would be the city manager, myself, who is the DDA director, the chamber president, and the director of the Visitors Bureau. We would get together every month, and our meetings were called the Scrub Bucket Initiative Coalition. It was based on a joke, but if you put that into an acronym, it's SBIC. And if you say that, it sounds like you're saying spick. And when we would say it, we knew what it meant. It's time for our spick meet. It's not SP, it's B.
This is how I know we live in the North.
Right.
That would never fly.
I know. Wait, did I tell you? I think I may have. I did. About the the conversation I had in the car with a family member recently when we were talking about whether or not we have a Hispanic population here.
Yes, you did.
I will rehash that for the sake of the listeners so that they can be entertained by it.
I'm sure they will be. They'll love it.
For sure. So,
All 8
it's
of
the
them.
holidays and we get to spend time with our loved ones this time of year.
Yay.
And have wonderful conversations about life. And this iteration, innocent enough, was actually the result of me having a chihuahua. And there's a song, Mamacita Don't Este Santa Claus, that is a holiday song that my kid and I have been singing a lot lately because we heard it while we were ice skating and it's fun and cute. And we make it so that our dog is singing it, kind of thing.
Cute.
Because he's a chihuahua and
that
whatever.
Is fun.
So we were doing that and it brought up the general conversation of Hispanics for some reason. A family member of mine who is an educator, not in northern Michigan, was talking about how she has a lot of Spanish speaking students and reflecting on how they're all really good students and that they have nice families and that they all seem to, I don't know, they all go to church and they seem to value education and just, lots of nice.
normal human people things.
Right, right. I will actually, I didn't mention this because she also then said that that's better than a lot of her black students. I'm not even joking that that is something that she said. Oh my God. It's hard to say this stuff out loud, seriously. And this is just a
Yeah.
casual conversation. Just a casual conversation in the car. There are kids present. There are kids present.
The, like, does she, I probably said this before, does she realize that she's talking about like human people?
People. Right.
Okay, cool.
I don't know. That's a good question. So then she asks, you probably don't have a lot of diversity up here. Do you have a lot of Spanish speaking people up here? And I was like, well, yeah, we do, because we have a lot of people that work on farms, and there's a lot of like landscaping jobs and construction jobs. Yeah, we certainly have a number of folks that live in the area that their primary language is Spanish. And she's like, oh, I never thought of that. And I was like, yeah, that's, whatever. But that's part of our workforce that they're doing a lot of the jobs that a lot of other people around here won't do. That's what kind of how I framed it. And then I was like, yeah. And then I was commenting on how she was saying their families are all so nice, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, generally speaking, because I grew up on the north end of Lansing with a lot of Mexican families, because there's a huge Mexican American population in Lansing. And so I kind of know the vibe. There's a lot of everyone's really tight knit, and the family core is very much, stronger, I would
Yeah, I
say.
say culturally,
Yeah.
the they have a, like, Mexicans have a stronger familial
Yeah.
culture than we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, speaking from growing up in that and knowing that from personal experience, I basically said, I'm not surprised to hear that about your Spanish speaking students, because generally speaking, those are things that culturally they value: family and
Mhm.
education, and, they have strong work ethic. And it's too bad that we're about to deport a whole bunch of people that kind of fall into that category. And she kind of sits there for a little bit, and then she's like, yeah, well, I don't know, but something's got to give, because I can't afford groceries at this rate. And I almost exploded. And didn't
Mhm.
I didn't think before I responded, but I don't think I don't think it would have changed how I responded if I would have taken time, because I said, oh, okay, well, do you think that if we get rid of the labor force that is the primary labor force that tends
For
to
that
work,
industry.
right, that tends to work in the agricultural industry, that harvests a lot of the produce that we eat that comes from America, and we start to get, anything that's imported starts to become more expensive because of these tariff things that people keep talking about. I was like, what do you think's going to happen to the price of groceries? They're going to get more expensive. I didn't think of that. And that's when I wanted to stop my car and push her out and say, well, you should have thought of that before you fucking voted. But I didn't, because hashtag family. But what the fuck, everybody?
Yeah,
It's like not, it's not that hard to figure these things out. One. Two, let's talk about the racism that came out of the mouth. Three,
of an educator.
yeah, she's a teacher in public school, not even private. Not that that would make a difference, but I feel like they can get away with a little bit more. This is public school.
Yeah.
What?
I saw a meme about this, about how someone was explaining, and we talked about this a few episodes back, how we're gonna have to watch everybody
Yeah.
realize what the fuck they did. Um, and so this lady had the most, let's go with graphic description that I've heard about the situation so far was that basically everybody who voted for the sake of lower groceries, lower grocery prices, or blah, 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 whatever, right? All the benefits I think that they're going to get thought that they had a fart, but it was a shit. And we're all in the elevator together. And now they have shit their pants in the elevator. And we all have to deal with the consequences of it now.
Lovely. That is a great analogy. You can't escape that stink. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Here we are.
everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what makes me sad about that? The fact that these motherfuckers, these little Debbie Christmas tree cakes, somehow will be more expensive next year and less attainable. Even though they're completely and totally manufactured in probably America, somehow I will be less able to afford this thing that's basically murdering me slowly. Thanks to America's wish for me to be sick and needing prescription drugs to survive.
Did I tell you, speaking of prescription drugs? So some of this is stuff you probably already know because I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before. Like, I get COVID.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
I'm just a little COVID magnet. Not even little. I'm a giant COVID magnet. Okay. And it's not great. I don't love it. Fortunately, over time now when I get it, it's definitely not as bad, which I do appreciate that my body has some sort of defense for it now. But my lungs are irreparably damaged. That's just what I live with now. And I'm fortunate that it's not so bad that it could be worse.
Mhm.
Okay. It's manageable. I had asthma. I've had asthma my whole life, and I have not had to have an emergency inhaler or even inhalants to mitigate it in years, decades, honestly, until these last couple years.
Mm.
And about the third or fourth time I got COVID, it was very evident. So I carry an inhaler with me now. Not a big deal. This year has been the worst so far. And
Mm.
it's also the worst in the winter. The colder
Mhm.
it is, the worse it is. So I over the last 6 weeks, I used my inhaler more than twice a week for the majority of those weeks,
Mhm.
which is no bueno. That's
Mhm.
not how it's supposed to work. This is you should use it less than once a week. You should not need this. But I've used it more than twice a week for several weeks now. And so my doctor was like, "Okay, we're going to put you back on Adavir,
Mhm.
which is daily, but it manages it." She's like, "So let's cut down this emergency inhaler situation." And I was like, "That'd be great."
Mhm.
Because when I have that thing in my purse, it's real hard to carry weed in there. I gotta take shit out. Okay. No, thank you. That's not the only reason, but it's stressful, right? I don't love it. And so she writes me this prescription, sends it over to the pharmacy. Pharmacy calls me. They're like, "Hey, your insurance doesn't cover this." And I was like, "Excuse me? The thing I need to breathe? To live?" They're like, yeah, so it's $130 a month for this prescription, which is nothing comparatively. Okay.
Right.
I've heard
Yeah.
1,000
Yeah.
prescription stories that are so much worse. But we pay a lot of money
Yeah.
for insurance
Right.
every year. And in conjunction with that, we still have to pay a deductible and we have an out of pocket limit, which BT dubs, we have maxed out our out of pocket for this year because Liam had to have surgery. So I shouldn't be paying for shit right now. That's supposed to be how insurance works. Nope. And so now I'm in a conversation with my physician about what is an alternative that my insurance does cover, or do I just pay the $130 a month to get what I know works? And that's infuriating to me.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I'll give you 3 guesses. Who's my insurance company? It's United Healthcare. Yeah.
Luigi.
Luigi. It's
Wow.
yay.
I
I mean,
mean,
who needs to breathe? It's not that
oh,
important.
right. Not to mention that most of the time, the reason why a person develops asthma is because of air quality issues that I don't know, was created by corporations and pollutants that they put into our environment, and or secondhand smoke, which also once upon a time cigarette companies were just as powerful as.
Yeah. I mean, when if you had asthma like in the 50s and 60s, they would prescribe cigarettes to you to strengthen your lungs.
Right. Yeah.
Even when I smoke cigarettes, my asthma wasn't this bad.
Same. Yeah,
Like,
mine's gotten worse. And I
yeah.
went to a daily inhaler as well because I was using my rescue way too much. My ADHD medication, I told you I have to go. Now I have to drive. Imagine if I didn't have a car or something. I have to drive 50 miles to Traverse City, Michigan to get a generic brand of my prescription because that's the only thing that my insurance will cover. Otherwise, I would have to pay out of pocket and it would be almost $400 per month. Because locally, no one carries the generic, like the generic brand. They just have the name brand. And our local pharmacies include a very local pharmacy that has one
Mhm.
location, no, two locations, one
We
here
have
and
yeah,
one in Grayling.
yeah, we use the same pharmacy.
Yeah. And then we have Walgreens. That's it. Because Rite Aid
Mhm,
closed because, they all did.
mhm.
So I have to go to
Well,
Target.
can we talk about how savage fucking Walgreens was though when that happened? Our Walgreens literally had signs in their, like, front area, in their grassy area that said, "Welcome Rite Aid customers."
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was savage. Go on, sorry.
That's pretty funny. I don't think ours was that aggressive, but I'm glad that
We didn't
yours
even have a
was.
Rite Aid. We didn't even have a Rite Aid in fucking Grayling, dude. It was hilarious.
Wow.
I was like, "The fuck is happening?" Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, the fact that I have to drive, yeah, that far. And one time I went to Traverse City for a class, got out of class and went to dinner with someone thinking that the pharmacy would be open, I don't know, as late as Target is open. Why would they be open that late? I'm not sure. But they closed at 7, so I missed my opportunity to get my medication and had to go back to Traverse City the next day. So that's exciting and stupid of me, obviously. But at the same time, what the fuck? Why is our world
That
like
is
this?
I don't know.
Why is our
Well,
world like this?
our little pharmacy, and they probably have this you guys probably have the same hours as us. They're
Yeah.
not open on the weekends
No.
anymore. They
Yeah.
close at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for catering to all the retired people and not anyone else.
Well, I mean, in their defense, it's mostly retired people that's paying their bills right now.
And everyone
But
else has
yeah.
to rush there after work to get there
Mhm,
before 6, basically.
yes. They don't open till 9, and then they close at 6, which I again, and I'm not knocking I love our pharmacy. I love our pharmacists. I very much, like, support their business. At the end of the day, do pay a little higher price out of pocket to go to our pharmacy for my
Mhm.
maintenance medications instead of doing mail order because I understand that that's important. It is really and their biggest struggle right now is they don't have certified techs
Yeah.
because we don't pay people anything. They
Yeah.
can't afford to, which is just fucking crazy to me because I mean, we've all got a nice healthy dose of what pharmaceutical and insurance company CEOs are making these days.
Yeah.
So it's really frustrating. It's frustrating as a consumer, as a patient. I suspect that it is frustrating as a small business owner
Right.
for our pharmacists. Like, it's a no-win situation. And they try really hard to like be accommodating. Like, they did not have to call me and be like, they're
Right.
not gonna pay for this. They could have just filled it
Yeah.
and like deal with it. But like they called and they're like, hey, this is what we recommend. Like if you just want to pay this, that's fine. Like we'll fill it for you. But maybe check the insurance website, see what similar medications they will cover, and then call your physician back and see if they're comfortable with doing a different prescription. What? This is for me to breathe. Why do I have to go through all of these steps?
Mhm.
That's wild to me.
Mhm.
It's infuriating.
Yeah. And
So, why am I paying for insurance?
those as people started to talk about the whole phenomenon of how many people are dead because of pharmaceutical companies and the hoops that people have to jump through. What you just explained right there, that sometimes is too much for a person. Yeah.
I'm that
And
person.
and
My
some
husband will do most of that work for me.
right. And sometimes people opt to just not do it. And I personally know someone who has died because of our medical system in general being fucking shitty. And that was my aunt because she,
Yeah, she had all the struggles.
yeah. And I was doing my best to help her navigate all of that, but I got to her when it was way too late. I mean, yeah, there were some deep-seated issues that contributed to her inability to really just cope and deal, but at the same time, we should not be making it this hard. And the fact that my aunt, who was employed by the same employer for over 30 years, a union job, had insurance through said job, broke her hip, and because the physical therapy was not fully covered, which what the fuck, why not? Right? Whatever. You can have surgery, but there's a lot of recovery when it comes to breaking your hip
Yeah,
because
like
that,
not paying for aftercare is the equivalent of saying we're going to make you do this again.
yeah. So because it wasn't fully covered, she started to rack up a bunch of bills, and in her eyes, medical debt is just as bad as credit card debt. She stopped going to physical therapy and she never got better. And she gradually lost mobility because of that. That's not okay. That is completely because insurance companies did not cover her recovery after breaking her hip. Not that she was not paying her premiums and like for 30 some years, she was paying into the system. And when she needed it, it wasn't there for her. And now she's dead. That's pretty cool. Cool story, bro. Thanks, everybody. And now her
That's
house is tore down, and that's a whole family history wiped away. And I don't feel bad at all that that guy got fucking killed. Sorry to say. And I kind of wish the same on the rest of them.
yeah, a tremendous number of changes need to be made. We
Absolutely.
actually had this. I was not privy to the conversation when it happened, but I heard about it secondhand and it made me chuckle because it came up at, I don't know, we were just at the bar, big long table of us just all hanging out, being silly. And someone at the table said, it's a medical professional. They work in the medical field. The conversation about, I remember what it was. Last week for trivia, our trivia team name was Luigi's Not Loving It because he got picked up at a McDonald's. I thought we were super funny. Nobody else got it. Just us at our table. We're the only ones who got it. It was really disappointing. And so in our text, so then that comes up again. We were telling the people who were at the table who hadn't gotten to trivia with us, we're like, this was I need to know. Do you? Are we just crazy? And so, no, everybody else who's at the table is also laughing about it. They got it. And I'm sure because we function on similar wavelengths, right? We hang out together. And so that's what started this conversation. And then I kind of got on my own little tangent in a different group and in a different side of the table. The conversation kept going about universal healthcare and legal was like, yeah, I mean, it would be a huge overhaul, but it's the right thing to, like it's a viable choice. And this healthcare professional was like, no, it's too difficult. Too many things would have to change. Care would be compromised, blah, 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 blah. We can't do it. There's no way to do it. And legal looks at this person dead in their eyes and is like, yeah, you're right. 49 out of the 50 developed countries in the world all figured it out, but we'll never do it. We're definitely too stupid.
Right. We are
And
too
I was like,
stupid. That's actually the problem.
it'll never work. And then that person was flabbergasted. And I'm a little upset that I missed the interaction, but it was delightful to hear about afterward.
The two people that were interacting, may they have once shared a household? Or no? That
No,
wouldn't be okay, because I know that they're okay.
absolutely not.
Okay,
No, we were
I'm
all
like,
at the
that would
table
be
together.
interesting, but okay.
Also, that now former medical professional, they're
Okay.
not in the field anymore. Also agrees universal healthcare is the right path.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I want to okay, I want to tell another story. So I know another medical professional
Mhm,
in a state that is not Michigan that is leaving their job. They love their job. They get to work with kids. They dig it. They cannot work with these people anymore
mhm,
because they are blatantly racist in the hospital setting on the floor. And despite being told, and yeah, they don't stop.
mhm.
I think that is part of the problem in the medical field presently outside of universal healthcare, which, guys, we definitely have big enough brains around to figure it out. Okay. No, the transition will not be easy, but at the end of the
It
day,
can
probably going
happen.
to save a lot of lives.
Yeah.
People will have better lives.
Mhm,
We're all going to die eventually, but in the interim, we could all be better.
mhm.
But yeah, this person is just like, we can't afford to lose medical professionals
No.
because the industry is so difficult to function in right now because of what we've built, because of how we've built it. And it's really unfortunate
Well,
for
and
this person
especially
to have to
still
leave. They have to leave their job
yeah,
because it is uncomfortable. And this is in a children's hospital
yeah, I
that
don't
is happening.
and to think that the medical profession will never be the same after COVID,
Mm-mm.
and now it's just compounding.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't pay more for a nurse or a doctor to get a job, say at a hospital in a big city versus a rural hospital. But it does. So guess who
Yeah.
doesn't get top-notch practitioners? The lower paying rural areas. Guess who never has a full staff? Rural hospitals.
So I think I don't fully disagree with you, but I do think that there is one area of that statement that I also don't fully agree to.
Well, if it
I
has
think that
something to
the
do, I mean, with
practitioners.
patient volume and everything, like there are certain things that need to factor into
No,
pay.
this is
However,
specifically about practitioners in our area. Generally speaking, I don't think that any practitioner that I have experienced in our rural area is a bad one. I do appreciate that the practitioners that we have here, generally speaking, for primary care services and stuff, over the last several years, it definitely has been more difficult
hmm
to maintain practitioners, but the ones that do have longstanding practices and relationships here are great because they know our people. And it is super unfair that the pay disparity, like, it's not great because they are doing as much service, but you also mentioned they can't get staff because there's not enough people here. Because there's not money here, the practitioners, like the medical professionals that we have here, are doing this because they love it,
yeah, yeah,
which is great, but there's 3 of them and we need 30.
yeah,
But
exactly.
we can't afford 30
And so they're
because
overworked,
no, yeah, and that
and
so you see burnout a lot
yeah,
faster and you see them going to other markets.
yeah,
It's really frustrating. So I do agree. The other piece to that, though, the part about that your statement that I do agree with is that because we don't pay um, practitioners here very well, we do see a shit ton of turnover.
yeah,
We oftentimes don't have specialists that are needed. It takes forever to get in to see a doctor or to see a provider um, because they are few and far between and they leave so frequently.
mm,
Last 3 years, my primary care physician left Northern Michigan, went downstate. Excellent doctor, loved her. For the following 3 years, she left 3 years ago. In that time, I did not see the same provider twice in the office that I was going to. Not once did I see the same provider twice after she left, because they kept giving me to providers who were there for 4 months, for 6 months, for maybe a year before they were off to a different contract. Which is the other problem that we have, is hospitals are willing to pay crazy contract rates. Like, I say crazy. What I mean is high sums. They're appropriate for the work that they're getting. They're only willing to pay those rates for contractors, not for their staff. Like, no, fucking pay your staff that and then they'll stay and you could probably save yourself some money.
Yep. Because turnover costs money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it impacts patient like care, it impacts functionality of the hospital or the office. Like, turnover is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So just pay those rates to permanent employees. Stop incentivizing people leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know another medical professional who liked where they were, enjoyed their position, got an offer. This was like immediately post COVID. So, this is like 2021. Got an offer to essentially be a traveling nurse. And she ended up in her own hospital making twice as much money. Yeah.
That's like,
What the fuck? They could have just paid her that.
yeah.
They probably could have just given her a 50% raise and she would have gladly stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she got a fucking
Mhm.
fat ass bonus for doing it
Right.
also.
Right.
So I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Okay, I'm not.
Yeah.
But like,
Thinking about all of this in the context of another issue that is plaguing the entire country and more so rural areas than larger metropolitan areas is the link to the housing shortage also,
mhm,
because when there's turnover, that is you can only recruit as far as you have housing
house.
availability basically, and right now that's a struggle in a lot of places, especially in northern Michigan. And right now, I've been giving a lot of public comment at meetings because that's my job, basically, to help people understand that, like, the jobs that can't afford housing right now because we have such limited inventory include medical assistants and registered nurses. And, like, they can't afford housing right now. So, what are we going to do when you're generally speaking in rural populations, you have a lot of aging people who are in higher demand of services like healthcare, right?
Mhm.
Yet we have in our market specifically, we have this fun phenomenon of high desirability for rich people to come in and just buy a house so they can say they have a house in, say, Charlevoix or Petoskey and only be there
Mhm.
for a month or so out of the year, which drives up the cost of all the other things because they pay cash. Isn't that cute? That's what the free market has done, right? That's what capitalism is doing to our communities. So we have a bunch of these people who have lived here maybe their whole lives who might need medical assistance at some point, who will probably get crappy care as a result of this second homeowner slash seasonal homeowner situation and the lack of attainable, not even affordable, just attainable housing for medical professionals in our
Yeah.
community.
So for the record, listeners, I feel like I've probably said this before. Affordable and attainable housing are not necessarily the same thing.
Right.
Affordable housing generally implies that it is housing that's eligible for assistance or was designed specifically for a low income bracket,
Mm-hmm.
whereas attainable housing is allegedly the housing that a normal working person should be able to afford, which is unfortunately a very small market because we are fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I want to be more scientific about that, and I feel like I could if I wasn't so mad right now. But it's true. The middle classes quickly
close to extinct,
Yeah.
pretty much. Are we all basically Alice? And then there's the
Yeah.
extremely
Yeah.
unfortunate and then the extremely fortunate,
Yes.
pretty much.
Yeah. And as a person who I'm a white middle-aged lady who sits comfortably in middle class presently, that's sad. There should be more people like me
Mhm.
who can pay their bills and also still go out on Saturday night and have not have to stress about it.
Mhm.
We just went through a situation with Liam where there was some insecurity about his employment that was maddening. It was terrifying to think about because he pays our bills and I joke a lot like that he's my sugar daddy, okay? But like honestly, he pays most of our bills. Like I have some passive income from other things that I do, but it's what I make from my stuff would not
Mhm.
pay our mortgage.
Right.
It would not feed my kids. Like, so that's really stressful. That shouldn't be the case. So Liam and we actually were looking at um census studies and he was looking at it for planning commission for a project that's coming in and comparatively looking at what the year to year median household incomes.
Yeah.
So the year that we moved here, and this is gonna be kind of personal, but that's the point of this, right? So the year that we moved here, the that households that had an income over 100,000 went up by one. And we know this
Yeah.
because it's reported by
Yeah.
that. It went up by one. There's a family that moved out of our area a couple years ago, and that number went down by one. We should not be in a place like $100,000 is middle class.
Mhm.
Household with four people at 100K, that should not be unusual. And yet here it is. We're 3%. We make up 3% of our population.
Hmm. In Grayling? Or yeah, okay.
The percentage of houses that make more than $100,000, households that have more than $100,000 in a year is 3%.
I want to make a funny joke about that, but it's not
It's
funny.
mostly just
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's a frustrating thing to be. So you mentioned doing public comment at meetings lately, and that reminded me that I missed a public meeting last night that I really probably should have gone to. And I don't even have a good reason for missing it. I wasn't doing shit. We decorated our Christmas tree. That was it. That's all I did last night.
That's important. It's for baby Jesus' birthday. Do the
Okay.
Lord's work.
We're going to circle back to how to celebrate baby Jesus' birthday in just a minute when I'm done being serious. Okay. There's a new manufacturer, Saab. It's coming to Grayling.
Mhm.
They did a kickoff event for this facility that's coming in here in Grayling in Detroit.
What the fuck?
Okay, that was just the first stupid thing that happened. That was several weeks back. And we all made a lot of jokes about it.
Cool.
Cool.
Don't bring the party here. Don't bother us
why
with
would you?
that. Why would you want to bring people here and spend money on stuff?
Yeah. So over the last several weeks, looking at the numbers, I love that there is something coming to town. It's
Mhm.
going to technically be in the township. It's adjacent to other manufacturing that we have in that area. And so I'm not upset that jobs are coming to our community. What I have learned over the last just like couple days, really, which is why I should have gone to this meeting last night, is that a lot of the jobs that they're going to be offering locally um, are low paying entry
Yeah,
level positions.
absolutely. Yep.
They have already recruited most of the like actual good jobs that when you think about these types of projects coming to your community, like you think about good management,
Yeah,
supervisory, technical jobs, right? Stuff that people need a skill for or can get a skill and be able to stay in their hometown to do a job and make a good living. No.
they're bringing those people in.
More than 50% of those positions have been filled by people who live in Traverse City.
Wow.
They're basically offering janitorial positions to our community, which is not I mean, great, sure. That job needs to be done, and I'm not complaining about that.
Right, right.
But that's not the type of job that we need here. And in addition to that, they are causing a significant amount of natural destruction.
Yep.
Our natural resources are paying the price, which is a thing that we're proud of here in Grayling.
Right. Yeah.
We don't set, what is it, 78% or something of our county is wild. It's undeveloped and owned by the state
Right.
so that it stays undeveloped. Like, so our tax base is super low, but we're fine with that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this is something that the governor's office has been tooting pretty loudly.
I'm super proud of it.
Yeah.
It's actually not doing that much good for
No.
the community that they're coming in and destroying. Our literal backyard is getting torn up. Our land, our river, that's what's paying the price for this. And our community, our actual nuclear community here is not going to benefit that greatly from it. It's very frustrating. So yeah, and they had a public meeting about it last night that I probably should have gone to, but I know a couple of people who did. I'll check in with them today at Rolling Oak because it's Mug Club night.
Nice.
And after you're dealing with basketball middle schoolers, I'm gonna need a beer for fucking sure.
Yeah.
Okay, no joke. Okay, but before I go, I do want to talk about the proper way to celebrate baby Jesus on Christmas. And I got this from a Michael Scott office meme. So definitely a place of high regard for when it comes to getting information and plans from. I saw a meme that says, "My family won't shotgun a beer with me at 9 a.m. on Christmas morning. Sorry, your birthday party sucks, Jesus." So I sent this to the Gosling group chat, and I was like, all right, a set of them lives in California, and then we've got 2 Eastern time zone folks. And so I was like, this will be so fun. We can do it twice. When it's 9 a.m. here, we'll get on a little video call with everyone, and we can do a birthday shotgun for Jesus. I said, and then when it's 9 o'clock in California, we could do another one. That sounds super fun to me. So then I get to thinking more about this. And I was like, ooh, we got to get cousin Andy in. So he lives in Kansas. So he's
Got
in a different
central.
time zone. So I was like, so then we get 3, and I was like, fuck, guys. My brother is in Denver.
Mountain.
Like, we can have all 4 time zones, guys. 4 hours in a row. We're shotgunning beers. That's a perfect Christmas. Nobody else was excited about it.
I don't like that for you.
Same. I'm going to be standing in my yard alone, shotgunning a beer. So I don't love it either. So my sister-in-law, the California one, I have this conversation mostly with myself because nobody's answering me. I'll send you a screenshot of it. It's pretty cute. So I'm like going through this. I was, oh shit, we'll get my brother, and then we can do 4 in a row. And then there's this foreign exchange student that lived with them in high school who lives in Germany now. And so I was like, fuck yeah, like let's get that bitch in here too. And I couldn't remember his name, but then I remembered his name. So that's part of the screenshot that I'll send you because those all happened simultaneously. And finally, Liam replies with sure ? It's like, first off, fuck you guys.
Right.
So my sister-in-law sends it to their friend group in California. She screenshots it and sends it to them. And one of her friends follows up with, yeah, that did not get enough attention. Try harder, guys.
Seriously.
Yeah, like he's all in. He's like, shit, I'll do it. So yeah,
Can I sub it?
absolutely. So I said we were going to start our own club, and I've been inviting people to it.
So Jesus's birthday shotgun club.
Yeah, I should make like a Facebook page
You should.
specifically for that.
Yes. And we can go
Just
live or something.
the Jesus birthday shotgun club. Yeah, and that'll be the thing. I just go live.
That's another name of a thing that can be misinterpreted.
Perfect. See? hitting all the fucking marks today. So yeah, that is how I recommend we all celebrate Christmas. So
Also,
Linz, you should try
you're already going to be hungover because of your Christmas Eve party.
Christmas party. Yeah. But
I
like that's the perk to being the East Coast time zone person is like we start technically the latest, right? Because like our 9 o'clock comes first. So I don't have to get up early for anything. We all know how I feel about
true.
mornings. So 9 o'clock for me, yeah, that's sold. So yeah, we'll have a Tennessee and a California. I'm gonna try and get us Kansas and a Colorado. I feel the problem is if my brother has to work on Christmas Day. Because as it turns out, the police aren't supposed to shotgun beers while they're on duty. Fucking
Dumb.
dumb. I could probably get I can't even get my parents to do it because they both did the like bariatric surgery.
Yeah.
So they can't between
I
the
mean, they would
carbonation and just their
get
little
alcohol
tummies, like they
poisoning
couldn't,
and
yeah. It would go really poorly for them. So I can't even get my parents to sub in. Fuck. I'm very confident I could find a different Colorado friend, a different mountain time zone friend to do this, but I really hope my brother doesn't have to work on Christmas because it would be more fun with him. He also, fun story, fun fact, he is in the midst of the interview process to become a detective.
Ooh,
I'm very proud of him.
that's fun.
I wish him luck. Fingers crossed that he gets to wear a tie to work instead of a utility belt.
A utility belt. I don't think that's what they call it.
Whatever, man.
What do they call those? Trevor used to have one.
Hey,
Police.
babe. The belt.
Duty belt. Duty belt.
Duty belt.
That's what it
Duty
is.
belt.
I knew it
Whatever.
was a different
Utility
name.
belt, duty belt, whatever. Same fucking thing. It's
With
got
those,
your weapons and like your tools and shit. So yeah.
yeah.
So
For
yeah,
when
he
you're
could.
reporting to duty,
You have your special belt on.
taking a duty. I don't so dumb.
Yay! Yeah, so hopefully soon, like in the next year, he'll be able to wear a tie instead of a duty belt.
That'd be cool. And investigate murders and invite you to comment on them when he has to be on a show sometimes.
I'm so excited about it. It's actually, I really think having a brother in law enforcement who's an investigator, who's a detective, that would make me more likely to be selected.
Yeah, maybe.
To do an interview.
Yeah.
On a TV
Especially
show.
If one of your former friends or boyfriends get offed.
So I did, one of my ex-boyfriends was also a cop in Denver and he recently moved. So he left the force. He took a police job somewhere else. But so he's off the list now. That's unfortunate. I'm kidding. I like him. He's a friendly person. We did not, it was weird when we broke up, but I don't wish ill for him. There are some ex-boyfriends that can suck a diseased dick and die of something gross. For fucking sure. But not Mike. I like Mike. He's a good guy. So he's fine.
Do you just say that because he gets to carry a gun? No, I'm just joking.
No, he is actually a nice person. When we so like silly side story, when Mike and I split up and I was moving out of my apartment where I was moving into, I couldn't take my cat. Well, our cat, because we got the cat together. But when we split up, I kept the cat. And this is Forrest, the Forrest cat. And where I was moving to, I could not take Forrest with me. And so Mike kept him for about 3 months and then gave him back to me. I got the cat back. It was agreed. And I was crying when I dropped the cat off. He was like, "Oh my God, you're such a pussy. I love this. He's my baby." He's like, "Stop it. You're going to get him back." But yeah, it was really nice. He didn't have to do that. It was good of him, though.
I love that you're telling this with a cat in the background, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So that's
it's not
fucking
Forrest.
Salem. It's not Forrest.
Is dead
Forrest
now,
died.
but poor guy.
We're coming up on a year.
I know.
No, the Salem cat, who's not supposed to be an outside cat. We call him shark bait. He bites a lot. But we put a little tie on him, like a little collar and tie on him the other day. And was like, "Ooh, business cat." And so then Calliope started calling him a loan shark.
Oh my God.
Because
Yeah.
shark bait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started calling him Loan Shark, but we only call him Loan Shark when he's wearing his business cat tie. But so he doesn't go outside. He's not supposed to go outside because he's stupid. But the other day when my mom was here, she accidentally let him out because she just wasn't fast enough. She doesn't know his sneaky tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we had to spend several minutes laying in the snow because he went under the porch in the back.
Was he going to visit the opossum? Is
I'll go
your
see his
friend still
buddy.
back there?
I don't know. I haven't seen his little tracks lately, so I don't. He either died or is hanging. Ooh, he might be under. I'm gonna check the tracks in the front yard today because he might be under the fairy village. It's more comfortable over there. Yeah. So there's that. So we had it's Atticus's cat. Salem is for sure Atticus's cat, and he gets really upset when he gets out. And so him and my mom were over the porch jingling toys and like getting treats. Catnip everywhere. We did get him and brought him inside, obviously, because you can see him in the background.
And now Salem's already plotting the next escape by looking out right now.
Yeah, because that's the door that he escapes out. You can see his stupid little head right there watching.
Yeah. Our kid is he's been getting out so much, and he got out again the other day, and it was kind of snowing and really shitty out. And I thought that the minute he realized that the weather sucked, he was just going to come back in, but he didn't. And I was like, well, I know you're going to come back eventually because you keep getting out and you do come back. You know how to do that. So whatever. And it was the most relaxed I've ever been about our animal getting out. But it also stressed me out because I was relaxed. I was like, I should be doing more. But he eventually came back and was meowing on the front porch.
Nice.
Why do animals wish for death, though?
I don't know, but I just realized it's 2:31. I needed to leave.
Have fun with that.
I will. We should try really hard to get this one up before Christmas so that everyone can shotgun beers with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can probably actually just do that on Christmas.
Yeah. And maybe we do it together and post it as a mini clip on our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I really got to go. Clyde is literally texting me like, where are you? Okay, bye. Bang, bang. Go the Cougar Magnum.
If you like this episode, please remember to subscribe to our podcast and head to doublechinswagon.com to learn how you can email or call our hotline to share your thoughts on our recent discussions. We love to interact with you and are always looking for guests as well. Thanks so much for listening. Now go and live your best life today.